Hello and welcome. Another episode of Last Minute Livin. Got something a bit different today. I'm clearly not dressed for camping. So today is actually my great granddad's 105th birthday. Now that's a pretty amazing feat. So we're going to take you along for the ride. He's done some absolutely extraordinary things over his life. He toured Australia when he was 80 on a motorbike. He was a prisoner of war, World War II. He's written himself an autobiography. He's done a heap more than that. Avon descent twice, Masters Olympics, so extraordinary man. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to take him, we're going to pull him aside, we're going to do a bit of an interview with him and tell him to talk about his life for a little bit. But today we're going to the party, so we'll catch up with him tomorrow for that. But I'll grab some family and friends and I'll get them just to input little bits and pieces that they remember about him. He's got some cracker stories. So yeah, we're just going to get him now. We'll get him in the car and yeah, we'll let you know. We'll give you a bit of an idea about his life. So there it is.
Arthur's eldest grandson, and as of 10 minutes ago, I am now your master of ceremony. So yeah, nothing really planned for me other than to say thank you all for coming. Some, as we probably know, have travelled great distances. Nick from Melbourne, a long way to come, but I think this fella's work. Oh, someone come from Mandurah? Yeah. So look, thank you all. I think this man deserves it. Every year, it just amazes me. I don't know how I'm going to keep up, or I'm going to keep up his traditions. We've had this talk already when he goes that I've got to step up. That's been taken in my stride, but I'm 56 in a couple of months, so it's roughly half your age will give you that, but I don't even think I'm half the man that this man is, so it is an honour to be here on behalf of Arthur and of course the family, so welcome to everybody. We're going to just have a few speakers because you can imagine by the age of 105, yeah, there's a lot of stories, there's a lot of people who want to have a say, and we're going to give a few people that opportunity tonight because again, I all think it's well deserved. So I think in all fairness, someone who's travelled the furthest away, I'd like to introduce Nick, and Nick is from the Greek community, based in Melbourne, and has come all this way to have a few words on behalf of Paul.
Well, first and foremost,
this is not Nick, this is Arthur.
It's not your turn yet, Pop.
First and foremost, I'd like to express my appreciation of the friendship which you all extend to me. It's a great thing to keep a fella going, this friendship. If you haven't got friends, you're in trouble. And one of the problems I have, of course, all my army mates, and of course a lot of my other friends have all passed away. And that's one of the disadvantages of growing old. But one of the advantages is you meet your friends and they're always pleased to see you. I won't mention any names because it'll embarrass some people. I am aware of the hand of friendship which you hold out to me, and I shall certainly carry the feeling of it when I leave here today. Growing up to 105 is not a great deal of effort, you know. No, people ask me the secret, and I tell them, well, it's quite simple. Don't die. I've nearly done that several times in the past, especially in the problems in North Africa, Greece and Crete. But here we are. I must confess, when I was swapping hospital with the enemy on Crete, I never thought I'd be here today. So I'm very fortunate. But I'd just like to tell you a little incident. When the war broke out, I went down to Subiaco Dual Hall to enlist in the AIF. I was already a member of the Cameron Highlanders and had been for several years. And in the Cameron Highlanders, there was an awfully English type major. He was, well, he lived that way. He talked like an awfully British type of fellow, and he was strolling through the drill hall where I was having an argument with an old soldier who was doing the elementary physical checkup. He told me, "You can't join." Oh, come on, mate, I've been 3 years in the Cameron Highlanders. No, he said, "You've got to be 5'4", and you're only 5'3½". Well, I was having quite a discussion with him, and then along comes this major, just checking on to see what sort of character he's going to have in this new regiment. And he gets to this cubicle where I'm being measured up, and he said, "Oh, hello, Leggett, going to be with us, are you?" And the old soldier said, "Well, no, he's not, sir. He's only 5'3½". You've got to be 5'4". "Oh, rubbish. We measured him years ago. He's 5'4". "Bung him through, old chap. There's a good fellow." So I was bunged through. And I can tell you, a couple of years later, when I was shoveling coal in Poland as a prisoner of war in German hands, I often used to think, now, if that major had just shut his mouth. But anyway, I survived it. That major became a brigadier before the war was over, and that's how progress goes. There's also some new members of my family here too. Well, we welcome you into the family. I trust you've met most of them, and I look forward to being here next year. And thank you ever so much for the friendship which you offer me. Enjoy. Well, there's some here that I've known best part of 50 years. Thank you all. Thank you for your good wishes. I shall certainly carry them with me.
Okay, several months ago, I was talking with Sue, and she asked if I'd be willing to fly over for Arthur's 105th. I said, "I'll bloody walk if my legs carry me." I'm not sure that I'll get that far, but of course I'll be here, and I've been very honoured to be here today. I feel like I've been welcomed and part of this family, and it's really on the back of Arthur and Sue. I've met a lot of you today. The ones that I haven't met, my name's Nick. I met Arthur in 2011 on the island of Crete. I'm born in Australia. My mum and dad were born in Crete. Dad was a 10-year-old when the conflict was out, and sadly we lost Dad on Christmas Day, and some stories unearthed, and one of them was that as a 10-year-old he would smuggle intelligence to the Australians, putting his own life at risk as a 10-year-old with messages, encrypted messages under a donkey's saddle. And he did this for years. He would walk around 6 kilometres to get food and bring it back for these soldiers. One of them was called Jack, and Jack actually left Dad a watch, which we still own today, very proudly. I met Arthur in Crete during the Battle of Crete, as I said, and our friendship struck, and we've been communicating and had a lot of ties by communications, obviously. I've never been to Perth. This is my first ever visit, and it's taken one hell of a man to get me here, and it's Arthur Leggett. So for that, I thank you, Arthur. Your friendship, along with Sue, has been so important to me, but also my wife, who sadly couldn't be here today. Helena has promised that she will be here for your 110th. So Helena and I will be back for Arthur's 110th, and that I give you my word. One quick story, Arthur, we've invited him over twice and he stayed at my house. The first time Arthur stayed at my house, I said, take your time getting up, I'm not working tomorrow. It's 8 o'clock, it's 8:40, it's 10 past 9, it's 9:30. Bloody hell, it's 9:45, the door opens. He says, you thought I was dead, didn't you? I said, Arthur, for the last 3 hours I've been planning your funeral. So, from that moment on, we sort of knew, and we had a wonderful bondship, and as I said, that carried through to today and will continue. I want to thank you for just being the person you are. On a serious note, you are a role model to people in life, not because of what you've done, but who you are and how you approach life, and that's very important to every person in this room, just to sort of know. There's a little gift that Helena typically has set up for you, which I'll present you later on. Now, she had a go at me and she says, where's the birthday card? I said, I haven't got one. Why didn't you buy a birthday card? I said, it was going to cost $21. How could a birthday card be $21? I said, well, I had to buy a 70th, a 30th, and a 5-year-old birthday card. And in total, that's $21. So I'm sorry I haven't got a birthday card, but we have got a little gift for you. So, from everyone for being here today, thank you. If I haven't met you, hopefully I will. I do fly out tomorrow, so this was all about Arthur and being here, and I'm so proud to be here. Thank you for having me, and thank you for approaching me, those who have and been so warm towards me, and I thank you for that.
All right, guys, we're just taking a little bit of time out here. I've got with me Nick. Now, he's a new face to my mind. He's flown over all the way from Melbourne, I believe. Is that correct?
That's right.
So, do you want to give us a bit of an idea about how you met my great-grandfather and where this sort of friendships started?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for making the time, Dylan, and appreciate everything. Look, I'm very pleased, humbled, and so proud to be here today for this remarkable person and his celebration. I met Arthur in 2001 on the island of Crete. Although I'm born in Melbourne, my parents were both born in Crete. Mum was in Hanyar, where the airfield was, the famous battle there. But Arthur was stationed more central in Rethymnon, which is my dad's region. So basically, my father, my brother, my 2 sons, my 2 nephews, we all went over together for the Battle of Crete, and where we met Arthur. And we struck gold as soon as we met, and been very fond of each other's company, be the distances that separates us. I was so bitter that I couldn't be here for his 100th, and it just wasn't to be. And I'm just so proud that I'm here today once again to talk about what a wonderful person, what an influence he is, not just to me, but to everyone. He simply is not bitter about anything he's seen, done, or that's been done to him. And that's, I think, in itself is something that we need to look at and understand, that things are hurdles and things happen, but just don't let them get to you, and eventually you'll get through them. And you know, as I said, of late, because of his health and his hearing, I've had to rely on Sue, his daughter, to keep me in touch, and basically communicate together. And as I said, I'm just so proud to be here today.
That's really awesome. So yeah, something that started, quite some years ago, you've kept in contact, and here he is, 2001, that's quite some time ago, and here he is, his first time in Perth, come over for this special occasion. And there's rumours that you said in your speech that your wife is going to make the way over for the 110th, so yeah. Pressure's on my great-granddad Arthur to
there's no pressure on him. He doesn't. That's why he's 105. He doesn't have pressure. Sorry to cut you off.
Exactly right. No, you're right there. He's definitely not stopping anytime soon. So, here it is. Flown all the way from Melbourne for this special occasion. Just shows you what a remarkable man he is. So, Thanks for your input there, mate.
Yeah.
We'll see you another 5 years.
Yeah,
I suppose.
exactly. I do want to say on behalf of my wife Helena, who sadly couldn't be here, and she is a bit like she gets very emotional when we talk about Arthur. She wasn't able to get here today. On behalf of not only myself and Helena, my family, but also the Greek community and anyone who's met him in Melbourne, he's been touched by a lot of people, and he deserves everything he's achieved in his life. Thank you for having me on.
No worries, mate. And that's awesome to hear. You know, he's touching all different types of not only Australia but the world. So thanks for that, Nick, for your little input there, mate. That was really appreciated.
Terrific.
We'll see you in another 5 years.
Yeah, absolutely. No problems at all.
We'll be here for the 110th.
Yeah, no
Cheers.
worries at all.
Great niece, Trish, just wants to have a few words.
My grandfather, Colin Chisholm, was married to Joyce, who was Arthur's older sister. I'm his great niece, Trish. That's my son, Alex, his great nephew. I've been going through a lot of my grandfather's things, and I found a poem that was written by Uncle Arthur, because many of the people know that he's a bush poet and loves his beautiful poetry and his Australian poetry. So this is a poem that was written by Uncle Arthur, and it's called The Old Tin Shed. No more the sound of feeding or the thud of horse's hoof. The tree branch scrapes a scratching sound across the rusty roof. Nowadays I wander up there with a step that's rather slow, to the old tin shed where we once fed the Clydesdales years ago. My sons say I should pull it down before it blows away. It serves no useful purpose, I've often heard them say. A tractor now sits coldly midst the harness in the shed, which smells of oil and dusty soil where Clydesdales once were fed. I blow the dust off collars hanging on the gimlet post, hear the thump of Bonz's hoofs and sense his friendly ghost, as he snuffles in the feed box and shakes his massive head. Then, without fail, scratch the rail where Clydesdales once were fed. Thank you.
Thanks, Trish. So we'd like to finish up with a few readings of some of the cards that Pop's got. Ray Galliot from the Ex-Prisoner of War Association, long-time friend, long-time associate. So yeah, just a few speeches or a few card readings.
Good, thanks very much. Arthur's in a quite unique position that he received a card from Her Majesty the Queen on his 100th, and today he's got one from King Charles, which reads, Dear Mr. Arthur Leggett, my wife and I are so pleased to know that you are celebrating your 105th birthday on the 8th of September 2023. This brings our warmest congratulations and heartfelt good wishes on such a special occasion, Charles R. and Camilla R. There's one here from the Governor-General, the Honourable David Hurley, that says that Dear Mr. Leggett, Linda and I send our warmest congratulations on the occasion of your 105th birthday. May this very special day be a happy and memorable one. From the Governor-General. Next one is from the Governor, the Honourable Chris Dawson. I'm delighted to send my warmest congratulations and best wishes on the occasion of your 105th birthday on the 8th of September, a special and memorable day for you and your family. The Governor apologises, he was planning to come here today, but he has vice-regal duties with his wife, but he's going to have a personal meeting with Arthur later on next week. This one is from Anthony Albanese. Significant congratulations, Mr. Arthur Leggett OAM, on the occasion of your 105th birthday on Friday the 8th of September. Anthony Albanese. I notice on the left-hand side it says, with best wishes for the future. So, you get 106. There's another very special one here. This card is from Keith Payne VC, who is still alive, and one of the few VCs still alive. And he says, G'day Arthur, how you doing, Cobber? We have both served under 5 monarchs, and now we see the 6th to be coronated soon, which obviously was King Charles. There aren't many people that have A record like Us Copper, hang in there and catch the coronation on the day. Best regards, Keith Payne, VC. This one is from the Premier. It's a letter. It says, congratulations to you on the occasion of your 105th birthday. This is an extraordinary milestone to reach, and I hope that you have a wonderful day full of festivities and laughter together with your family and friends, reflecting fondly on the many memories you have made during your lifetime. Sending you my best wishes, Roger Cook. Nick made reference to the trip that Arthur did to Crete back in 2011, and I have two notes that have come through. The first is from the Honourable Warren Snowden, who was the the Minister for Veteran Affairs and Repatriation, and he says, Dear Arthur, congratulations and best wishes for your 105th birthday celebration. As the Minister for Veteran Affairs, I had the great privilege and honour to accompany yourself and other distinguished veterans of World War II, together with Mark Kelly, on a visit to Greece and Crete in 2011. I have vivid memories of that trip, including those of the stories of the veterans about their wartime experiences. To a man, they all sacrificed so much. I know as a veteran of the 2nd Livin Battalion, you were captured at Suda Bay and spent the rest of your war as a POW of the Germans. On our trip there was sadness at the sacrifice and loss suffered by Australian soldiers and their allies, especially those from New Zealand, as well as the people of Greece and Crete. There were memories recounted of great hardship, but also stories of sacrifice and mateship and ingenuity, so central to surviving the travails of the war. It was an absolute honour for me to be able to spend that time with you and your wonderful comrades, who like yourself were so willing to share their experiences, good humour and friendship with those of us who had the privilege of travelling on this commemorative journey with them. They were all heroes. Thank you for your service to Australia and for the inspiration you still provide. The Honourable Warren Snowden. This one's a little bit longer, but it's very meaningful. This is from Major General Mark Kelly, who was the Repatriation Commissioner at that time. And Arthur often tells the story that as a signalman, he was very honoured to be served a beer by a general. This bloke. Dear Arthur, it seems only yesterday when we embarked on the commemorative mission to Greece and Crete to commemorate the 70th anniversary of the Greece-Crete campaign from World War II. You, along with Bill Taylor, were our two veterans from Western Australia, and both served in the famous West Australian 2nd Livin Battalion, AIF, during the war, including at Bardia and the capture of Tobruk, before serving in the Greece-Crete campaign, where you were eventually both captured on Crete. It was a great privilege for me to accompany all the veterans on that trip and to get to know them and to listen to their personal stories from the war. You gave me a copy of your book, Don't Cry For Me, on that trip, and I feel very honoured to have it as part of my book collection. The long 800-kilometre march to freedom after being released by the Soviets from the Stalag in Poland to arrive in Brussels in time to celebrate VE Day is an incredible story of endurance after your 4 years in captivity. Since that mission, we have commissioned the 75th and 80th anniversary of that campaign, and you've been around to mark these occasions, and again, this year marks the 82nd anniversary, and we are very fortunate that we still have you with us to mark that milestone. I've had the opportunity to catch up with you on a number of occasions since that mission in 2011, including the annual ex-service Christmas function held at the DVA Perth office by the Deputy Commissioner of Western Australia, Peter King, who's here today, where you were a regular attendee and an honoured guest, but also at the annual ex-POW ceremony conducted each year at the Kings Park Memorial in May in conjunction with the Mount Lawley Senior High School. I was privileged to attend the ceremony at Mount Lawley High School in 2018 when they officially named the library in your honour, as well as the annual Literary Prize Award to students. I was also very honoured to be invited to attend your 100th birthday party that year and was asked to say a few words to mark the occasion, but also read and present to you the telegrams that you received from Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth. And now you've reached another remarkable milestone in your life, your 105th birthday, and this time we receive a telegram from His Majesty King Charles III. I hope you have a wonderful day's celebration surrounded by family and friends and enjoy the festival of Arthur. I send you my very best wishes for your 105th birthday. It's been my privilege to know you as a fellow veteran and a friend. Yours sincerely, Mark Kelly, Major General.
All right, so I've now roped my Uncle Mark into saying a few words. So obviously you're his grandson, is that correct?
Yeah, grandson number 2, grandchild number 3, but I like number 2 better.
Number 2, that's it, we'll go with that. So have you got a memorable moment throughout Grandad's life that sort of sticks in your head?
Yeah, there's quite a few. I like it when he recites poetry and that for people, but the best would have to be the Dockers Anzac game. Just seeing him recite the ode in front of 60,000 people, dead silence, and all you hear is your granddad's voice. It's quite eerie, and doing the lap of honour just had the people standing up and clapping. And
yeah, that was awesome.
Very respectful. Yeah,
and did you go down with him for that one? You were in and around there with him?
No, brother Darren and Maddie went down.
Yeah, my dad and my brother.
Yep. I took him just this year.
That's right, yep.
But he was out there in the middle, but didn't recite the ode or anything. He was just there because a lot of the Dockers supporters were asking if he was going to be there again this year. So they asked him down and looked after him and gave us some good seats and enjoyed a really good game. Sent a chauffeur out to pick us up, and it was really great.
Yeah, that's it. The Dockers have been really good the last few years, actually, getting him down there to the game, and it's an unreal feeling having an Optus Stadium packed out, sold out game, and we got probably some of the best seats in the house, seeing our granddad basically walk around, and the support from all the supporters, for the Anzac game is just unreal. So yeah. Thanks.
Like even today, he got a cake from the Fremantle Dockers sent to him. So they still got him in their minds, and they always keep in touch one way or another. And so hopefully we can do it again next year.
That's it. So thanks for that input there, Uncle Mark, and we'll see who else we can rope into this, but if not, we'll let the man speak for himself tomorrow when we catch up with him and give us a bit of a spiel on 105 years on this earth.
Yeah, you might be there a while, but we'll see how it goes.
We could be there a while, but stay tuned and we'll get that to you.
Cheers.
All right, Grandad, 105 years on the earth. What do you reckon?
I reckon it's been a long time and the earth has survived.
Does it feel like 105 years?
No, I'm very fortunate. I'm in pretty good health, and there's a lot, of course, of things that I remember of the past, but I'm very fortunate.
Have you got something in particular that sticks in your mind as one of your greatest things that you've achieved in your life?
Oh yes, when I met my wife in England, that was a great thing there. And when she came all the way out, you must remember, I knew her 6 weeks before I proposed to her, and it was 14 months before she managed to get a passage out here. But she took a big gamble coming out after 14 months after only knowing a bloke 6 or 7 weeks. But that was a great moment when she arrived here in Australia.
Getting through the war, was there anything in particular that made you want to go and fight for this country back when they were asking people to go out to war?
Oh, yes, it was a pretty common feeling. I had been 2-3 years in the Cameron Highlanders of Western Australia, and when the war broke out in 1939, I transferred across then to the AIF, and I was in the signal platoon of the 2nd 11th Battalion City of Perth Regiment. So, you had to go to war. You couldn't just sit by and see all these things happening, and at that time, the Germans were a very aggressive nation, and they just had to be stopped. So I joined the AIF to try and stop them.
In your book, you travelled around Australia when you were about 80 years old, the right young age. Is there anywhere in particular that you think would be a really good spot to go and check out?
Oh yes, up North Queensland, at where my sister was living, and my grandson, they were living up there in the far north Queensland. It's a delightful place. I rode my motorbike up there once anyway, and I think I drove my camper van up there once too. But Bill, that's my grandson, my nephew, sorry. He and I have always got on well, and it was a pleasure to go up there for a couple of weeks.
That's awesome. When I was talking with Uncle Mark yesterday at your birthday, he mentioned one of his most memorable moments was when you got asked by the Fremantle Dockers to go to Optus Stadium to recite the ode. What did you think of that?
I was a bit overawed. It takes a bit of you've got to take a few deep breaths when you've got to walk out into the centre of a football field, and there's something like 50,000 people.
About 60,000 people, yeah.
And you've got to recite the ode, which is a sacred thing, and you just don't want to mess it up. And I did my best, but as far as I'm concerned, it's not me. I'm the representative of all those poor blighters who didn't come back. And it was a very impressive moment in my life, and still is.
And so you've written a book too. Was there anything that sort of nudged you along the way to write a book, or did you come to that conclusion by yourself to write a little bit of a story about where you started and where you've ended up?
No, I belong to a little writing club. We used to meet every once a month just to yarn over writing and what we may have done, and read a bit to the group there. There was only about 10 of us at the maximum. And after about 12 months, or maybe a bit longer, one of them said, "Now look, if you put all this in the logical order, all these little tales you've been telling us, we'll have a good book." And that's how it happened. But when I got into writing a book, I realised too I was also recording a history of Australia that I trust will be of value in due course, because my parents never kept any records of how life was. They never kept a diary. And I thought that, well, there's blokes like you will come along, and I'd like them to know how we lived, how Eileen lived and how I lived before we met, and all the problems we went to in our early marriage, like building a house and trying to find a decent job. And we stuck along together, and I was very fortunate in her loyalty and assistance.
So that brings us probably to one of the last questions we'll say in here. But what we're doing here is we do what's called a YouTube channel, which you probably don't know much about. But basically, it's an online TV show. So basically, this video could reach people from Perth to Melbourne and even around the world. So do you have any piece of sort of advice or something you'd like to say to, someone that could reach as far as the other side of the world?
Well, yes, we can live in peace. A war is a terrible damn thing. And, the Germans, we were fighting the Germans, killing as many as we could. And I've met some wonderful people who are Germans. They're full of kindness and consideration, and they're no different to us, and we can live in peace. But of course it won't happen. China's expanding, Russia's expanding, and they haven't let up on us. And this worries me, where your generation is concerned. What's going to happen to my country? It's changed so much since the last war. We've got so many different kinds of immigrants here now who are as Australian as I am. When I think back, my dad and his generation used to think that about me. Oh, they can't go through what we went through, but we did. And I have every confidence in the younger generation in developing this country as well as it can be developed. Well, take you and working on the mines, that was, well, I never did anything with that. And get a job on a mine, you were out there for 12 months. You never got anywhere but on that mine. And in the quarters that they provided, they'd had a residence for the workers. They had a central cookhouse and dining room. And when you got a fortnight's holiday once a year. Well, things have changed since then, of course.
They definitely have.
And that gives me a sense of pride, but I don't know just what to think of the future for this country. No doubt it will be as good as any country, but it won't be my Australia. It'll be a different type of Australia. I think that'll be a good thing too, because my goodness me, we had a rough life as kids, and as my mum and dad did. I hope that this carrying on is for the better of Australia generally, and we do happen to live in a harmonious type of population, even though we come from so many different countries nowadays.
I think that's a pretty good message to send out to all of our viewers, so hopefully they can help us continue that. So after 105 years, have you got any secrets that's going to help me get to 105 years?
Well, there's a standard answer to that question. Don't die. You've got to keep yourself physically fit and mentally alert. Well, not boasting, but as Darren knows, I've run a couple of marathons, and I've had a go at the Avon descent. I marched gone down the Bibbulmun track with a group of people, and these things keep you physically fit for sure. And mentally, well, I'm a member of the Bush Poets and Yarn Spinners Association, and you learn Australian poetry and how to recite it, and that keeps you mentally active. And even now, in my quiet moments, just sitting here, I can go through quite a few poems that I haven't done in the past, and they keep you mentally alert and a little bit proud of yourself too.
So that's going to wrap up this week's video. Maybe a long one, like I said. It's probably a video that was more so suited to us and trying to capture some moments. You know, being 105 is pretty impressive, so we tried to make the most of that situation. But we thought we'd share it with you guys anyway, because like I said, he's got a lot of stories, plenty of awesome experiences, you know. Like I mentioned, he has written a book, so I believe you can still get them. So if you are interested, you can get in contact with us. We can sort that out for you. But yeah, so it might be a bit of a long one, but you know, take out of it what you can. And yeah, we're definitely gonna be cherishing this video for quite some time. So thanks for sticking with us, guys. But we'll be back next week with an absolute ripper of a video. Don't know what it'll be, but we've got a long weekend coming up soon, so fingers crossed we're gonna get plenty of content there. So stick with us, and we'll be back to the adventuring very shortly. Cheers, guys.
Happy birthday.